All right, let's see here. So, here's the thing. Manny asked me to speak today because I think my brother Philip Santamaria, some of you might know him. My brother Phil and I have been getting some attention lately because we've been speaking truth to power at the local Republican meetings. I encourage you all, before I get started today, to get involved in that. It's really an easy and quick way to make a difference. Get involved in local politics down here because, like Marcus just said, they're not going to react unless there's some feeling of consequences, unless there's some feeling that someone's watching them and someone's scrutinizing them the way we get scrutinized, right? So that's very important. I want to thank real quick before I get started, Manny Roman, I'm sorry if I don't pronounce that right, but this guy has worked so hard to do everything you see here. I mean, I'm not a detail guy. I would get lost in all the details, but look at this. This is why people get excited, people get involved. Look around. This is community, okay? This is bigger than politics. These are people that you know now in your area who think like you, who feel like you, who care enough to get wet maybe under the rain, stand under the hot sun on Saturday when you could be doing just about anything else, and get together for something that you agree on, okay, that you believe in. So, Manny, thank you so much. Also want to thank all the volunteers. I know there's a lot of you making signs. This is a grassroots campaign office, guys. This is a grassroots effort. We don't get paid for this, okay? We don't get paid for this. So I have no background in politics beyond books I've read. I have very little experience speaking publicly outside of being a high school teacher. Okay, I teach high school, public schools. Yet, I have found that for my brother and I, this has been very easy to do. Very easy to get up here and organize our thoughts and talk. It's not because we're so much smarter or better or educated, none of that. We have great teachers, and we have one specific great teacher and one model, and that's Ron Paul. So before I discuss some of the invigorating and motivating issues that get me up here and say, you know what, yeah, it's a little unusual and different to get up and talk in front of so many people like you, but I got to do it. Before I talk about those issues, I want to talk about Ron Paul's Restore America Now plan. Why is that so important? Because as a member of the REC, these people in this group want to know why we should vote for a certain candidate. Ron Paul's not fringe. Ron Paul's not the outsider anymore, okay? He's the outsider philosophically, but he can win. He really can. Look at the polls. It's not a joke anymore, okay? So, Ron Paul's Restore America Now plan. This is what you got to know when you want to talk to your friends who are somewhat informed in politics or in current events here. On taxes, this plan reduces the corporate tax to 15%. What does that mean to you and me, okay? All these corporations, all these companies that have gone overseas to create and set up their businesses, they can come back. They can come back and they can create jobs here, okay? That's how you do it. That's a solution. That's to a problem, okay? It's not pandering. That's actual facts. Then he extends all the Bush tax cuts. And I don't care who put them in place. Tax cuts are good, okay? So he extends the tax cuts. This one sounds funny, but it's true. You abolish the death tax because, yeah, when you're dead, you're still a slave, okay? And finally, my favorite one, get rid of that income tax. How about that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and we get rid of the income tax and we replace it with nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing, nothing, nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Zero, zero, zero.
All right.
On big government. It's so easy to point out the nonsense of the other candidates without saying any names. On big government, okay, we cut 5 entire departments that we don't need. Not 3, not 1, 5, okay? Let's see if I can remember. I wrote them down, all right? I'm not, okay. So first one, Department of Energy.
Get rid of it.
Housing and Urban Development.
Get rid of it.
Education.
Commerce. We'll get there. The Interior. Department of the Interior. And the Department of Education. My favorite, because I'm a teacher, and that's who pays me, but I don't want it. So let's get rid of that. We're going to do it. Get rid of those departments. If there's one iota of important things that those departments do, we'll do them in other departments, but they don't need their own budget, right? We need money here. We need jobs. And I did not stutter. I did not forget a department because I know what I'm talking about. Ron Paul doesn't stutter and forget a department because he knows what he's talking about. It's easy to do this. I'm telling you, all of you should be doing this, what I'm doing right now. It's easy because you know nobody else. In fact, it's often stressful to think, what, I'm going to say something now that's going to hurt someone's feelings or make someone hate me a little bit. You just got to do it. It's easy. They'll come around. So, not only that, it cuts $1 trillion in the first year alone. In 3 years, it completely balances the budget. And that's what the Republicans want to hear about, or at least that's what they say they want to hear. Balancing the budget, okay? And it does it, listen to this one, without cutting Social Security or Medicare. Done and done. Now, some people say that's too radical to cut $1 trillion, okay? I say spending ourselves into oblivion is too radical, okay? And the radicals are in power right now. You're not radical. You're not radical because you go home and budget and say, I can't afford this, I can't get it. That's what they need to do. We elect them, we pay for them. That's not radical. Now, why is this so urgent? I get a little upset sometimes. Why is this so urgent? Besides the fact that we're broke as a nation, besides the fact that government has too much power, okay? Government is, definition here, government is the opposite of liberty. When you have a giant government, okay, you have less liberty. And if you care about your freedom, and that's why you're here, I'm assuming, okay? I see Live Free or Die t-shirts, okay? If you care about freedom, government is the opposite of liberty. So we want small government and giant amounts of liberty. Am I right?
Yeah.
So civil liberties, defined in the Bill of Rights and Constitution, were put there for us because some smart people hundreds of years ago knew that we'd be here today. They were written at a time when no one trusted government. They knew that though they were philosophically sound, their future generations may not be when they get into power. So they wrote this thing called the Constitution. You might have heard about it. Some of our elected officials have not. Here's the proof, the First Amendment. The First Amendment. Congress cannot establish a belief system. That means the government cannot control your thoughts. How about that? Think what you want. Not only can they not control our thoughts, but they cannot control your freedom to express yourself. You can say and write what you want. I never thought we'd be talking about this in this country. I thought it was common sense. They cannot even prevent us from gathering in groups like we are right now, occupying this lawn. Getting together to think freely, to speak freely, and to read what we have written freely. Don't take that for granted. We're gathered here, and we can gather because our founding fathers knew that one day government might not be so comfortable with you getting together and doing this. They might not like it. And they're starting to not like it even more and more. We also have a right to petition our grievances, which means we have a right to complain. And we have a hell of a lot to complain about. You don't believe me that our founding fathers knew that these days would come, that we'd have to complain and we'd have to protect our rights? Well, the founding fathers asked themselves, how can we communicate to future generations that the First Amendment is so important? By putting the Second Amendment right after it. Right after your First Amendment, your Second Amendment is there. Your right to bear arms. And that is there to protect the First Amendment. That is it. That's the reason it's there. It's not so you can shoot your gun up in the air and be a belligerent. It's there to protect your rights. It really is. So any government, domestic or foreign, or United Nation, who wants to infringe upon your rights to have a Second Amendment, to have and to bear arms, they're not after your guns. Wake up. They're after your freedom. An armed society is a free society. Wake up. When guns are illegal, who gets guns? The people who don't care about laws. Criminals. You're not a criminal. You're good people. You deserve to defend yourselves. Don't ever forget that. And if you haven't been paying attention, they've been hard at work. They've already started. While you were sleeping, bam, Patriot Act. Now, government wants to spy on my phone calls, read my emails, record my internet searches. Well, there's something called the Fourth Amendment, gentlemen and ladies. You don't have to be subject to a legal search and seizure, as according to the Fourth Amendment. If anybody is considered an enemy of the state, you do not no longer have the right to the Fourth Amendment. It doesn't apply to you anymore. So who's an enemy of the state? Got news for you guys. Do your research. Enemy of the state. Ready for this? Let's see how many of this people here I name. Libertarians, gun owners, constitutionalists, returning veterans. That's who they're worried about. Yeah, that's us. Returning veterans. That makes your skin crawl, huh? People who went and sacrificed their life and risked everything they had for you. That's the enemy now. You know why? Because they know what's going on. You can't lie to those people. They haven't been subject to the propaganda that you've been subject to here at home. And they're getting bolder. All the time. Now they want to put the government wants to put their hands down your pants. Who's cool with that? The TSA is allowed to put their hands down your pants. If that doesn't get you mad, I don't know what will. Okay? If that doesn't get you mad, I don't know what will. You do not have a pulse if that does not get you upset. A lot of friends that I know, some people here, were a little hesitant to be upset about that. Well, it's just a pat down, just a scan. And then they got a pat down, and they came back and they said, wow, it was pretty unnerving. Then you hear all these reports, and I'm not knocking all the TSA workers, okay? But then you hear the reports. This guy got caught for a pedophile, child pornography. This one got caught screaming about his genitalia. This one got caught raping someone in the parking lot of the airport. Look it up for yourself. Don't trust me. And those are the people entrusted to do what even a police officer can't do. To put his hand down your little child's pants in front of you and make you watch so you realize that you don't have any power over your own family. Get mad. They can grope you in public. They can photograph you naked. They can bake you in radiation 10 times what an X-ray is. Tell you to put your hands up like a felon, like a suspect, like a terrorist because you want to travel. Put their hands in a child's pants. Put their hands in a baby's diaper. Have you seen these videos? Is Al-Qaeda hiding inside a toddler's poopy? How do you explain it? We are being watched and spied on. We are suspects when we travel. We are molested and we are radiated. And now what's next? Because it never goes backwards. They never pull off any of the infringement. It only goes more and more and more. Take your money, take your rights. Take your money, take your rights. Take your money, take your rights. The log roll effect. If we are considered suspects, meaning the government doesn't like what we're talking about, thinking and saying, we can be dragged out of our houses. This is not science fiction. This is not George Orwell's 1984, though it sounds a lot like it. You can now, as of last week, be dragged out of your houses by the military and detained indefinitely. Marco Rubio signed off on this. Start being aware of the frauds who call themselves Republicans so that when they ask you, you are not going to vote for any Republican who runs? What if Ron Paul doesn't win? Aren't you going to vote for the other Republican? I got principles. You got principles. You better stand up and say, why would I do that? Chavez can come here and register Republican. You going to vote for him? We're not stupid, guys.